All right, there we go. Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's a fabulous Friday here in Dallas, Texas. I don't know how the weather is around in y'all different parts of the country, but it's absolutely amazing here. It's a beautiful day. I think I'm gonna take a walk after this. But today I have the honor of having two special guests. So we're gonna dive into it. I was like, well, maybe they're getting tired of hearing my voice or hearing Michelle's voice. So I was like, it was time to bring in a special guest to come help us train. So I couldn't at first it was just gonna be one, but then both of them, I talked to both of them this morning, just like I pretty much do almost every morning, and they both dove in on topics that I want somebody to come share about today. So I asked them if they had time to come share. And a lot of y'all know Ashley already. So I'm gonna kick it off with Ashley on this topic because it is Friday. And when she said this, it was like the most simplest thing ever, but it made so much sense. But the topic me and Ashley are going to discuss here is follow up. Follow up. See, last week we talked about, your daily method of operation, kind of how to get one, how to make that. We talked about activity the week before that, but now you done a little bit. You done some calls. You sent out some texts. You did all of these little things. So now what do? Maybe don't most people that most people that you talk to don't sign up day one. I didn't even sign up day one. So you have to follow up. So there's no better person than me. Oh, there goes Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Aunt. Sorry I'm late. We're at families right now.
It's okay. It's okay. The teamwork makes the dream work, Michelle. You know.
Yes, it does.
So, but we're gonna jump off with Ashley. I know I was going to ask her a couple questions on follow up, and we'll bring Katie on in just a second as well. But we're gonna start with Ashley. Ashley, let me go ahead and do this. I'll do it like this. How do I spotlight you? And then where's Michelle? Let me find Michelle right here, and then bam. Okay. So Ashley, it's follow up. We know how we all say the fortune is in the follow up, but over the years we know it's fortune in the follow ups. So Ashley, what you said earlier, could you just repeat that with everybody? Because and then after that, I got a couple more questions about follow up as well. Could you repeat exactly what you told me this morning that made so much sense?
Exactly. I don't know
Yes.
exactly my words, but hello everyone. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Whoop whoop. Um, so when I was talking to Anthony today, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm working out, getting my workout in this morning. Gonna go for my walk." So I'm ahead of you, Aunt, because I already got my walk in. But and then he's like, "Oh, what else do you have planned for the rest of the day?" And I was like, "I'm gonna do follow-ups. Today's payday." And he's like, right? He stepped back a second because typically people do get paid on Fridays. And so wouldn't it make sense to do follow-ups on Fridays when everyone has money in their account, right? They just got paid and it's like they might have the extra, they might not, but that's why I love them on Fridays. Two things. People got paid so they have money, and also it's the end of the week, right? And so like filling the funnel. So the fortune really truly is in the follow-ups. And so take your week, right? Like what I do is I start doing different engagements, doing different things, reaching out to new people, plugging them into the Facebook groups. And then come Friday, that's kind of when I try to go in and close. If they close that Friday, perfect. If they close the next Friday, or if they're like, hey, I just want to, take a few weeks to figure out exactly what I want, I just put them on my next Friday follow up. Another thing I do on Fridays, just a helpful tip, and then I'll stop talking, is I go back through transformation health styles and lifestyles, and I see who I've plugged into that group that I can follow back up with. Because a lot of times, if I don't have their name down on a piece of paper, which typically I do, but sometimes people fall through the cracks, I like to just go back on those Facebook groups and see what friends I'm in there, what I've added to, and try to follow up with them, try to get them to the next step, a next exposure, whether you're closing them, whatever the case may be. But typically I love Fridays just because it's an opportunity for me to follow up. I know people have, more than likely a deposit that probably happened on Friday. And so they have the extra money to follow up and see what, meet them where their needs are at.
And I know Michelle, you had a question for Ashley on this, on follow-ups and
I do. So, Ashley, that is absolutely brilliant about the payday thing. Never crossed my mind, but completely solid. And then you have amazing results with your follow up. So, what are some of the conversation starters that you use for that follow up? How do you lead into it? Because I know a lot of times for people, verbiage can be a challenge when we want to do it right and we don't want to be salesy or for it to feel pushy. So, you are someone who has incredible success and results with your follow ups. So, how are you initiating those follow up conversations?
So a lot of it stems off of, so I've obviously been doing this for 6 years. I have definitely learned how to become better over time because I was not perfect and I still not am, right? Like you learn all the time. But something I've learned to do is when you're talking to that person, always set up the next exposure that you're going to have. If someone reaches, so like if I'm ending a conversation with Michelle and she's like, hey, I just want to try the product, or I just want to, look at my different options, I'll get back to you. I'll be like, perfect. I'll message you back in just a few weeks or if you, just depending on the person. So I'm always setting myself up for that next exposure because if you don't, it is very awkward to go back in there and do that. Right. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll follow you up with you next week, whether it is a Friday, whether it's a Thursday, whatever it may be. If they're just like, hey, I just want to check it out for a few days, I'll get back with you. Perfect. I'll talk to you in a few days, but you're always setting up that next exposure because if you don't, it is very awkward to go into that conversation. So remember when you're doing that, always try to like put that in there. Hey, I'll follow up with you in a few days, see what questions I can get answered for you, that type of thing. So really always setting that up if you don't, I literally just give them some time if they don't reach back out to me. If they're not like, hey, I need a few days or a few weeks or whatever the case may be, I always just follow up and I'm like, hey, Michelle, just wanted to check in with you, see if, you made any decisions, if you have any questions, if you'd like to hop on a Zoom or a call, we can get your questions answered. Just giving them that opportunity and opening that line back up is really, really important. But I've found that when you set that precedence, like right here on the back end of that conversation, it's way easier to slide into the follow-up on the front end when you're actually making that connection again.
oh, that's real good.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Ashley.
Yes. And a lot of times it's important because you do get in that thing and you're like, what do I say back? Like you kind of get in that you just don't know really what to say or how to kind of go back into that conversation. But if you end it, it's really easy to go back into it when they know that you're going to be reaching back out to them, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. And you're being intentional about all of those conversations when you do that. It's like that expression that says begin with the end in mind, thinking forward to what's coming next. What is the next step in the process by, closing those conversations with that basically introduction to the next contact to say, all right, great. I will follow up with you in 2 days or next week or whatever that is, that's appropriate for the conversation. That's really beginning with the end in mind and keeping focus on the big picture of the process. So I like that. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much with that. Anything else you want to kind of add on follow up, or did anybody on the teams have any questions about follow up for Ashley? If so, just unmute yourself and I'll spotlight you. But if you have a question specifically for Ashley on follow ups, then definitely, because it is fortune is in the follow up. So we always keep it open mic here. So if you feel like you have a concern or something, or you need help, maybe you got somebody in the pipeline right now. You like, man, I want to follow up with them, but I didn't set it up. Maybe and you got a question for anybody. Okay. Oh, Valerie. Yeah.
Okay, so how about those people that you've talked to that you were excited? Like, I love to meet new people and I do it all the time, even when I'm out of town. And I become friends with them on Facebook, and I may have added them to the groups. And if I didn't, and I just kind of, for whatever reason, didn't follow back up with them, but I still want to, and it's been weeks, how do you approach that person?
Me personally, what I would do, because I mean, sometimes people do fall through the cracks, right? I like your 4x4 bracelet on there too, Val. Just had to point that out because I'm like, oh, look at one. Typically what I do is, like, when you start that conversation, right? Be like, hey, Val, life's been crazy these last few weeks, right? Because that's relatable. Life's crazy for all of us. Like, it's not just you that time might get ahead of, but kind of give yourself an excuse to them. Like, hey, life's been busy these last few weeks. I know you've been a part of that group. Did you get a chance to check around? Do you have any questions on anything? So it kind of just is like giving yourself that valid reason at the beginning, like, life's been crazy, but I haven't forgot about you. So life's been crazy the last few weeks. Just wanted to check in with you, see if you got a chance to look around that group, watch that video I tagged you in. It's just being personal, but it's like sometimes it is very awkward to follow up with that conversation if it has been a few weeks, because it's like, hopefully they've looked around. Well, are they even interested because they haven't reached out to me? Or, so it's giving yourself the permission, like, hey, I've been busy, whatever the case may be, whether you forgot, whether life has been crazy, whether whatever, but just kind of give yourself that validation, but then just go into the follow-up. Just wanted to see if you tagged that, watch that video I tagged you in, if you have any questions, if you'd be interested in hopping on a call, a 3-way call with my friend Ashley, whatever. But just try to follow up that way, because that's what I love about the groups is the group does the work. It has that exposure and it does the work for you, but you still have to tie the bow on the end, right? Like, you can plug people in there. And there's a lot of people who plug people in there, right? I don't even know how many people are in that group right now since we started it, but there's a lot of people in there. So who do you still need to tie the bow on? So that's like when Fridays come around, I'm like, okay, who did I plug in the group in the last week or two that I can follow up with that's been exposed to it? But that's kind of how I would go about it, is just, life's been crazy. Just wanted to see if you have any questions, or, if you got a chance to check anything out. Sometimes people respond and they'll be like, oh, I really haven't gotten a chance to look at it. Okay, well, perfect. I'll follow up with you in a week or a few days, right? So then you're kind of setting that next exposure again.
Oh, I love that right there. I do have a question on follow up then. Okay, let's say for instance, it is somebody that was completely interested. We shared with, they got on the Zoom or we had lunch with, whatever. And, they said they were going to get started, but maybe life happened. Life happens to everybody, money became an issue, time wasn't right, spouse didn't agree, or something, whatever it is. How would you follow up then? Would you kind of go about the same route? Maybe it's been a couple of months now.
Yeah. I mean, kind of essentially the same thing, right? Like, you're always trying to set that next exposure. But if it has been a while, and you have to realize, like, people are going to join you when it's their time. And I'm going to show you my piece of paper right now that I write my prospects down on. And when I forgot to circle this one. And I'm total old school, like, I have to have my calendar in front of me with all my stuff. I have it in my phone too, because I'm forgetful. But I have this piece of paper. So every single time someone reaches out to me, right? Most of you know that I've lost 42 pounds. I try to do one post a week, whether it's my stories, whether it's my feed, something like that, because that's me. And every single week I have a person reach out to me, even though they probably saw it last week or a month ago, they might not have been ready, right? So people continuously reach out to me. I'm not even prospecting them. I add them to my list, their name, right? When they order, I circle them and I write what they get. So look at my list right now. Look how many people have ordered and have circles around them. Not all of them, right? And the majority of these people are people who reached out to me. Like, they came to me for more information. So they want more information, but, like, how do you close them, right? And so really it just goes back to people being ready at the right time, especially when it comes to weight loss. People are very, like, I'm going to start my diet on Monday. I'm going to go to the gym on Monday. I'm going to do that on Monday, right? You get in that mentality. So it's like, how do you get them in the mentality to join you? Is it having another challenge? Is it having another, 30-day weight loss challenge to try to get some of these people locked in? But like, we all run into it, right? But the thing is like, they reached out to me. I didn't even have to reach out to them. But still, like, they still have they still have that, how do I commit? How do I get them, their pack and get them started and get them going? But we all run into it, right? And so I think it's just very, very important to like remember that. Like, even though a lot of people comment on my stuff and a lot of people have been joining, there's a lot of people that I've been working for a month or 2 or 3 or 4. Literally, one of my old coworkers, like a year and a half already, I'm going to wring his neck if he doesn't join. Don't give up on me. Every single time I talk to him, don't give up on me. I'm still interested. He watched the coaches prospect Zoom with Tad and Aaron and Brent. And I'm like, oh, this is totally going to lock him in. Don't give up on me. Well, I'm gonna, like, right? But it's like, keep them on your list. Don't give up on them because timing just isn't right for them, right? And so a lot of times we get so hard on ourselves and we get so caught up in our own head, but it's like, if the timing's not right for them, there's nothing you can do to close them and tie the bow. The timing has to be right for them, but I still have them on my list. I cannot wait to circle his name and write what he purchased on this list when he does it. Cause I'm like, but it's right. We all have those, but it's still staying persistent and still keeping that next, how can you try to close them? How can you try to tie the bow?
And
so I think that's
can
powerful because what?
Oh, I was just going to ask if I could jump in there to speak
Yes.
to part of Val's question there. When it's been a little while and, you haven't talked to somebody for a bit, one of the ways that, in fact, I've had 2 conversations today with people who there was a specific issue or a health challenge that I had extensive conversations with them about previously. And, it's been several weeks since I've seen or talked to them and reached out for different reasons today and discover one of them is sick right now. And she's been struggling with something. And I had talked to her about it previously. And so that was a really great opportunity to just be like, what do you think about getting started now? And, it can really help support your body. And she's like, you know what? I need to do that. So go ahead and send me the link. And then the other one, just actually while we're on this call, is somebody who has migraines. And I just asked him, I said, hey, how are you doing with that? And he was like, not very good. And I said, what would you think about getting started to help, support your body with the stuff that we're doing? And he's like, yeah, let's set something up and talk. So my point with that is just whatever that pain point was that brought the connection or the conversation in the first place, you can just reach out and say, hey, I was just thinking about you with that, like my friend that I just asked while we're on this call, how are you doing with that? And let them tell you, how are they doing? Because for the most part, I'd say you could be fairly confident that if they haven't gotten started with you to start supporting their body that way, they're probably going to be in the same place that they were the last time you talked to them. And now might be the time, or maybe it's gotten worse. Like my other friend this morning, she was sort of on the edge before, and now she's really not doing good. And so, let that progression of how people are managing what they're dealing with might have now brought them to a place where if you just open that conversation with, how are you doing with that? I was thinking about you. Then now might be the right time, because Ashley's totally right. When the timing is right, people will make that decision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, people have life happening just like we do, right? People have been let go. They've had different health issues come up. School's getting out. Like my daughter just started track, and track's going to go a whole nother month after school's out. Like we all have life happening. And so like being mindful of that and giving them grace, but also giving yourself grace, because a lot of times we get so upset and like this person's ignoring me. I've reached out a few times. This person's ignoring me. And we're so hard on ourselves, but it's like, what is that person? What's their situation right now? Right. And so always having that mentality, because to us, it's like, they're ignoring us. They're giving us a cold shoulder. They're probably not even interested anymore. Right. And so it's like, what is that person going through possibly that they haven't reached back out? Right. So timing is really, truly perfect, but never forget the follow up and never forget the next exposure. Because when you're prospecting people and you're reaching out and you're working, that's work, right? Tie the bow on the end of it. If you're not tying the bow on the end of it, you're just sitting there spinning your wheels, right? Whether they sign up that week, whether they sign up in a month, whether they sign up in 6 months, like always keep that list of people, because you never really truly know where they're at, but it is still work and effort that you're putting into it. So don't just do it for no reason.
Wow. I can't thank you enough, Ashley, for just jumping on. And I know it was last minute, because I tell y'all, been in almost a decade, I think my worst thing in this whole thing is not picking up the phone, calling nobody. It's not making a list. It's not in there. It might be follow up, just because I probably just get so busy. Life gets in the way. I kind of brush it off like, oh, well, I tried a couple of times. It's not time. And then I just kind of forget about them. And then, but that's just to be honest. I'm going to be honest. And that's probably my worst area. But I thank you so much, Ashley, because I know it was last minute. We talked this morning and you just was willing to jump on, and I'm just thankful. Thankful for you as a friend. I've been glad to be on this journey with you the last 6 years, and to the top we go, sister, to the top we go. And thank you. And so now we have one more special guest, and I know a lot of y'all have probably not met Teddy. I mean, if you was on the Coach's Corner the other about a week or so ago, 2 weeks or so, he jumped on, and Brent had him on there for a little bit. But this man I met now several months ago, and actually got to go spend time with him in North Carolina. And he's been in this industry way longer than I have. Retired from the industry because of the company he was in, and then decided to come back. Not while he was looking for different ones, but he decided to pick New Age over all the companies he could have chose. Out of all the different companies that reached out to him, he decided our company. And it's been an honor working with him. Now, I'm talking about somebody who I think he don't get no sleep. Y'all think I'm always on every call, or think I'm always moving around. Well, this is a guy who I don't think ever sleeps. And then when he finally launched 5 days ago, I watched him now after today and have over 100 people he's going to put in the business. And it's not about that, but it's his work ethic. And he has a wealth of knowledge. But the first thing I wanted to ask you though, Teddy, I know Michelle has some questions for you as well. But the first question I have for you, Teddy, is, well, one, tell everybody where you're from, Teddy. Tell people a little bit about you so they can know real quick. We'll spend a couple minutes just telling people about you, because I want them to kind of know who you are.
Yeah, that's a difficult task right there. But I was born in Italy, came to the States when I was in. No English, nothing. Grew up in New York, Brooklyn, New York, and my career kept going. I got in this industry at the age of 21. I was blessed to meet somebody who saw something in me. And again, I didn't know nothing. I was like a brand new person, right? And I loved it. I went to a meeting my first time. I didn't know what it was. I thought you get this box, you go out and sell it, and you got the money and you're done. But that wasn't the case. When I got explained how you make money, and then I kind of got more excited. And so what are we in 2021, right? I got in the industry. I was 20 years old. I'm 56 now. So you guys can kind of figure out how many years I've been doing this, and full time, never had a job, never got my hands dirty. That's a promise, and I won't do it because I've been blessed, just like Ashley said. She's, and what you talked about, Michelle. So the industry has done me right. I built, and it's documented, I built 3 successful companies from start to finish, brand new, never touched anybody else when I had my issues. And, I'm going to go into what Anthony said in the beginning, and I'll try to lay it out real simple because I know we don't have a lot of time, and I'm blessed to be on this call. And I want to thank Anthony and Ashley. You did a great job, Michelle. You guys are awesome because you know the industry. You're learning, and I'm still learning every day. The key here, what happened with me is about a year ago, and this is, you know, I'll be transparent with any question. It doesn't matter. I looked around and I said, I got to get back in the industry. I got to get back in the industry. So I started talking to Shay, who's my wife, and, you know, I had to get the blessings for her because I know that 18 hours a day is hard on the family, right? Now you got to be committed to a business and you got committed to your family, and you got to be able to have support. Support is a big thing in this industry because if you really want to make it happen for yourself, you got to put the work. I don't care if it's an hour a day, 2 hours a day, just focus on your business and work. And so I like to kind of, maybe we can all interact, Ashley and Michelle and Anthony. I'll get there, but the most I heard you guys talking about follow-up. What I've done and how I became successful is I always put a system in place. In other words, I'm not saying go out and get a mop and screw it together and teach everybody how to do that. That works, right? So when I say a system, I mean from the part of duplication, which is key. You have to duplicate what you do throughout your organization. In other words, you have to get everybody on the same page. So that's key. And so how do you do that, right? Well, you create yourself. You use the tools that are available, right? Your upline is very important. And if he's not working, go to the next guy. And if he's not working, try to find somebody who's working. And you got to be committed for the same thing, right? So that becomes a tool. Your upline's a tool, whoever it may be. You have to learn certain things like the X office and the products, but pick one specific array of products. If you're going to do the Slender X with the Rejuvenex, you know, and you want to put a couple of packs together like that, where it's simple and easy for everybody to do. Because new age, and I'll go back, if you're not ADD and network marketing, it's not good. You got to be ADD. And that's what happens with me, right? So I looked around, I got the support, and I started looking. And nothing. I looked at, I'm going to be open, I looked at New Age, which I know Alexi Goldstein, he owns the company, and I went and visited there, and it wasn't for me. The compensation plan wasn't for me, and the culture wasn't for me, right? So I went to Coyote, which is, they got a beautiful setup, and they've been around since 2007, and they're very successful in their movement, but they didn't have the culture. They didn't have what was necessary for me to come out of retirement and make it long term. And just like every other company out there, they always promise you the world. We're going to go there, we're going to make it here, and then you got these guys who want to jump in. I don't know how many people been in. If you want to raise your hands, I don't know if Anthony, we have that, just show me by hands how many have been around for a minute in the industry and how many are just coming on this call for the first time to hear it. Can I see a hands? I don't know, Ashley, who does this, or Michelle?
I think the only person on here that might been on here longer than me would be, well, Miss in this industry, Miss Susan. Miss Susan and Bill probably been in longer than me in the industry.
Okay.
On our, and Miss Valeta's been off and on in the industry as well for a couple. Anybody else been in maybe a decade or so? Just, it doesn't, you know, whatever.
Doesn't really matter. The thing was this, I just wanted to know on what level I can come in on this training, because, you know, I'm used to being on training calls with network marketers who are crazy. Trust me, when you work with them full time and they're full time, it's nuts. Then you got every different personality and it just drives you crazy, right? So, and you got to work. When the thing here is you have to choose what channel you want to go to. So I, like me, myself, I'm I'm actually doing the weight loss, and I did that on purpose. So I have my friend Rick Redford. We're friends, I don't know how many years. We worked together in corporate. We built the marketing for corporate. We really worked hard together. And I moved to Salt Lake City and stayed there for about 4 or 5 years and helped them build. And so Rick and I go back, and Rick is a great guy. He's honest. If it don't make sense, Rick Redford, he'll tell you it don't make sense. But if you have something and you bring it to the table and it makes sense, Rick will help you. And I know Rick a long time, and he's a great human being. So I called Rick up and I said, "Hey, Rick, what are you doing?" And he says, "Well, let me explain a little bit about this." He started telling me how these mergers came together and how, listen, Noni's been around for 25 years. I'm gonna give you guys a tip. Noni, I think, has over 400,000 distributors. They're in so many countries. Their product is good. You think Noni would merge with RX if they thought that New Age wasn't going to be a success? Noni made billions of dollars in this industry over the last 25 years, right? They're not going to just move over and say, "Hey, okay, we're freelancing now, we're in." It don't happen. RX been around for a long time, 10 years. I think they did last year 260 million combined income. Combined was 500 and something million between. Let's just say how New Age is right now. So their New Age right now, last year, I think, from what I understand, did 500 and something million. Now, I'm gonna get into that for a minute. And you guys who are really interested about doing this business, you're hearing from an old school network marketer who's coming out of retirement for this reason. Because I know that my income will stay here. The work I put in will be recognized, because my goal is, forget about my goal. My goal is going to be achieved if everybody I put in this business achieves theirs. The end result, I don't even need to see my goal. And if in this in New Age, my goal here is to create 25, 30 millionaires. If I create 10 out of it, I'm great, right? So that's my goal, and hopefully they'll follow that. But so you have to understand how these two companies together. And I'm saying this for a reason, because you're going to get a lot of people that you're going to call on the phone or talk to, and they're going to hear New Age, and you're going to have to tell the story, right? So maybe they won't go in detail, and you don't really want to get into it, but some people do their research like I do. I spent, I think it was almost 4 months of doing my research and trying to really figure it out. I read about their stocks. I seen their true income, because they can't lie. They're a publicly traded company. I know for a fact they got about $60 million at hand, ready to go to work. They're spending right now almost $250,000 on a corporate website that it's going to be banging for everybody to use, and it's really good. I don't want to get too excited, because that's the way I am. But so when I did my research myself, I invited a couple of friends of mine that I know, and I said, "Hey, you know what? Do me a favor. I want your opinion. And this is what I'm trying to do. I want to understand it. Help me." Then I went to a couple, and we teamed up together when we started looking, and talked to Rick and talked to my sponsor, Ken, who's an amazing guy. I mean, he's genuine. He's a good upline. And I started talking. I learned information, and I got where I wanted to be. And then I said, "Let me try the product." So I got the Slenderize and a bunch of other stuff, that whole box, the business, whatever it's called, Business 2. And my wife started using it. And I'm going to tell you like this, I got first and after. So I have an experience and a transformation that I needed to see with my own eyes, because I'm not going to do something that's going to fail. I'm not going to do something that's going to insult my integrity, because honesty is the most important thing in this industry. Don't lie, and always be honest, and you'll get success. Because in this industry, it's a small family. you know, there's 50,000 people who join every day in network marketing. It's a small family. Everybody knows each other. And if you lie, one day it'll come out. So always be honest. It's not a big deal. Don't beg nobody to come in your business. Don't try to convince them that this is the best deal. If they don't get it, then they don't get it. Put them on the bottom and say, hey, you know what? We'll touch base in 30, 60 days. And, you know, we can compare notes and see where we're both at. Very simple. So New Age is going to be the next billion-dollar-a-year company. Trust me, I've been in this industry 30-something years, and I'm going to tell you why. From 1950, I think 54 till now, only 13. Well, let's not count Avon, because Avon wasn't a network marketing company. So there have been 12 companies that were billion-dollar-a-year network marketing companies. And we're never going to see that in this lifetime, because there's no network marketing company out there that can do it except for New Age. And I'm saying that, and I'll bet anybody in the industry, top earners and all that, I'll put my life on it, this company will never go away. I did my research. I'm not just a regular, I'm a network marketer. I'm a guerrilla marketer. I know how to do this business. I built 3 successful organizations because I saw it. What failed me was the owners of the company failed me, because it happens all the time. There's no doubt about it. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. You finally start making $100,000, $200,000 a month, and you got 10 guys doing it, and they cut the comp plan in half, and now you're stuck. And then you got to go and you argue with the owners, and they lie to you, and you got to get up and say, either I'm going to give that check up and go somewhere else, or I'm going to let this guy, I'm not going to say the word, but you guys understand it. So now you're on the next deal, and you do the same thing. You get excited and do all this stuff, and you build again, and they do it again to you, or they change the product and they try to convince everybody, and that happens. So it happened to me 3 times. But the best thing about what happened to me, I was able to understand the industry and keep saving my money. And over the past 30 years, I can say I made about 28 million in this industry. And I know guys who are doing that every single day. They're working hard. We're putting in 18 hours a day. And like Ashley said, I'm just like her. Here's my lists, right? I think there's a list in here. There's probably about 40,000 people. Now I can't call them all, right? But I put together a system where it'll work for me. At the end of the day, you know, as my callings are going, I build a list. Just like she said on the call, I build my list and just keep calling. And now I have a system that works for me, right? If you're not writing things down and you're not gauging your business, then you're going to fail, because there's too many things to think about. You know, if you're talking to 10 people, can you remember what you said to 10 people? Let's be honest with each other. No, because life gets in the way. You got the kids, or you got to cook, or something's there. So always watch your gauges. You know, when you're driving down the highway, you watch your speed limit, and you know how fast you're going to go. Well, your organization is your gauges, right? And you always have to watch them. You always have to go. If somebody calls you and they need help, I mean, you got to help them. Don't tell them you're going to call them back if you're right there. Go in the next room, go in the closet, talk to him, because they may need a 3-way. They may need to know something. They may have someone on the phone where they can't handle that objective, and they need you to do it. And if you can't do it, you tell them, hey, I got somebody else who can do it. And you go upline and find somebody to do it for you. So fortune's in the follow-up. It's great. But there's a lot of things that you have to do to get to that follow-up. How do you find the people? Most people are tired of going in their family and friends. It's done. I don't have no friends no more, no family. They won't even listen to me, right? So new blood is very important. New blood every single day. I have a saying that I use, and I train a lot of people, stood on stage a lot, and I don't like that. And Anthony will tell you I don't like all that stuff. I'm beyond that now. It's always to get new blood, than to resurrect the dead. You have to be able to find new blood every day. How do you do that? There's tools out there. We're not going to talk about that today because, but we'll talk about, I don't know how much time I got, and I'm hoping I got another few minutes, but because I want to deliver a message, and when you guys leave from this call, I like for you to get something out of it, whether it's just talking about whatever. I want you guys to leave this call with something, and anything you leave with from this call is great. You did something, you accomplished something. So the reason, let's get to finish here. The reason why I came to New Age is because I trusted Rick and I saw what was going on. I said, holy crap. Where have you been my whole life? My whole career. And I saw first of all, they can't lie because it's publicly traded. And when I understood who was incorporating, what they were doing with these mergers, and there's no way you could fail here. Plus, there's a compensation plan that's lucrative. And there's a strategy to get to a point. You could get to $20,000 a month within 3-4 months if you wanted to. It's simple. But the problem is that people don't want to follow a system. They don't have nobody to talk to. I'm not here to say something or offend anybody, but most people will open their computer and just stare at it and think they're working their business. Look, it ain't going to change over 5 minutes if you're not on that phone. And if you don't get 2 people in your team to be on the phone, then you're not working. They're not calling you. There's no follow-up. There's no new blood. So there's important things. If you want to make it successful in this business, it's a business. Don't think you're going to buy a $300 or $500 or $800 pack and think it's going to all come to you. No, it ain't going to happen like that. Think of the track where you see now in the Olympics and these guys are running around, they got the baton, right? And every time they run a certain thing, they hand the baton over and they keep running. And the last guy is the fastest. He's the most important guy. Put that in your book and remember that, because that's going to be a jewel for you. You have to always think about a strategy. Now, I don't know how many in here are duplicating themselves, and what you're learning, you're teaching downline, and that's how it is. First of all, when you close somebody, you got to make sure they're on auto ship right away, because auto ship is your money. At the end of the day, when you're finished building this business, because the level of commitment always determines the altitude of your success. So if you're committed to 10 hours a day, then you're committed to 10 hours a day. If you're committed to a half hour a day, commit yourself to your business for a half hour a day. Make sure you're working your business. And if you're on the phone with somebody coming to your business and you call them up 3 times and they got an excuse, hey, call me when you're ready. I'm here for you. Just keep going. The secret in network marketing is to find the right people and to have fun. Enjoy the journey, as we say, because the finale is going to come. You create the journey and the finale. You are the one who you got to say, this is what I want to do. Don't depend on anybody. Don't think that everything's going to, if they sold you the dream that you're going to come in network marketing, it's going to happen overnight. They lied to you. It ain't going to happen. It's just like everything else. You got to put your time in your business. You have to respect your business. This company has an array of products. Try to see what products that are selling most. Do your investigation. Say, hey, what about the Lima? What about this? What about that? What products are being sold the most, right? And create a package and use that same package. You bring them in, they can change their order ship how they want. You tell them that. But everybody in your team should have a duplication process. Use 1 pack, 2 packs, and process that. And then you could change that. But your strategy is to go down and watch your gauges, and you have to have a system. You got to follow one system, because if your team member comes in and they're doing some phone calls and they're promoting lean, I'm not going to become a doctor. I don't want to explain how the product works. I don't want to know nothing. Use the product. This is the results. Here's the transformations. There's a million email videos out there that will tell you anything you want.
Absolutely.
Don't get verbal diarrhea. They don't work. Just don't work. Do we have to get off?
Michelle,
Well,
yes.
I did have one thing for you though, Teddy. Well, Michelle did have a wonderful question she wanted to ask you.
I'm
So
sorry, I just get going and it's you
I
can't
know
control me.
I talk to you every day, Teddy. I know. I know.
Well, I have
love it.
passion. I'm in love with this industry. I'm in love with it. I wake up and dream about it every day. And I've been in it so long and been burnt. This industry is so amazing.
Yes,
When
it
you
is.
find the right people and you have fun, at the end of the day, you know what? You're being able to send your children to college. You could buy your car. You could do whatever you want as long as you want it. I'm sorry, Anthony. Go ahead. I get excited. I can't stop.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Michelle got the question. Hey, Teddy, you already hit all the points that we talked about, so I'm so excited.
That's awesome. So, Teddy, I heard you mention that, your friends and family don't want to listen to you anymore, but you have that massive list and a huge network. So what are some tips and tricks, things that you have found over the years that work to continue to expand that network without placing a strain on those friends and family relationships so that you're able to continue growing and expanding your business and your network while maintaining the integrity of those relationships that really matter?
Okay.
Because that's really a concern that people have, is not wanting to alienate those friends and family.
It's the greatest question you could ask. It's the greatest question because that's the most important thing. There's a lot of important keys. There's companies out there, your sponsor can help you, or Anthony, or we can get on the Zoom and I can kind of give you guys some tips and where to go. But there's companies out there that sell good leads or good prospect leads. And don't get fooled because there's a lot of bad companies that recirculate it. And that's another training if you guys want. But there's companies out there that sell leads and you can go out there and buy 25, 30, 40 leads. And, you could get a script that you can follow and you could train on that and kind of develop it to being your own personality. So I get leads. If someone comes new in my business, I'll give them some, but I always get leads and I always use that phone. And I know today the days are changing with media and all that, but you still have to have a system there. And, it's not just about selling them the product, it's about keeping them on the product. Because, that's the beauty about the compensation plan we have here. It'll pay you every day. It's amazing how it pays out. That's another conference call there, and you guys will get it. Simple, but you have to get leads from somewhere, and you have to buy leads. You get new blood. I understand the giving out the cards and stuff and belly to belly stuff. It's not happening no more. Those meetings at home, and some people are doing. I don't want to offend nobody who are doing it, but I don't do that no more. I don't like going and sitting down in a coffee shop with 5 people or 1 person and try to convince them that I have the best deal in town. They don't see it like we do. So you have to go out there and seek opportunity seekers. Somebody who is interested about something at one point or another in their life. And now you can call them up. Ashley mentioned Friday's payday and people are coming out of work and this and that. They're disgusted when they get their check. They're totally disgusted because they work 50, 60 hours and they got to come home with $1,000 check and they got 2 kids to feed their family. That's what's going on out there. That's what's going on. And if you can find that one person who has that problem, and if he can make another extra $5, $6, $200 a month, you did something right. You did something right. And you have to have a passion. You have to be passionate about it. You got to get intoxicated. You got to really love the company because that's what's going to make you a lot of money. But new blood, you have to get new blood. Like you got to buy here. I got another list here, here and here. But these are guys that are network marketers and, they made a lot of money and they're my friends and they're going to come aboard because they say if Teddy's doing it, then there's something here. So you have to make it your story right. Don't get verbal diarrhea. I'm sorry if I offended anybody with that diarrhea stuff, but verbal diarrhea is no good. let the tools do the work. If you find somebody and you pick, let's say, the Rejuvenex, and you're pumping the Rejuvenex, know a little bit about the Rejuvenex. Not a lot, because information, documentation always beats the conversation. So I don't get into it. There's tons of, you guys said it before, there's tons of information out there. There's videos, there's everything. Your videos will do the homework for you. Love the videos you send out. Get the information and understand, well, you know what? This video really don't work for me. This one does. But it's the same video. Like Dr. Ginger, I think that's her name. She does some great videos out there. Deanna, she's great. If you hear her, she's in corporate. And use those people. If you need somebody, you call Rick Redford if ain't nobody helping you. Don't be shy. This is your business. I don't care. If I need the president of the company to get on the phone, I'm going to call him, because he's got to honor and value me, because I'm working the business, whether I'm new in this business or 100 years in the industry, don't matter. That's a tool. This company has a Bill of Rights, and that Bill of Rights is for us, right? Every other company you go to, they're all the same. They lie to you. We're going to do this, but there's a little clause in the bottom that we don't read that says we can terminate you and take your check anytime for no reason. This company has a Bill of Rights, and we're protected by that. Plus, they have, I don't know what they call it here, but it's kind of like a liaison committee. And all these leaders get together once a month on a Wednesday and we discuss stuff. Right? They're part of a council. And if something goes wrong, they got to bring it to the council. The council got to vote for us to get kicked out. And I know you guys, some of you guys are brand new, and this may be too much work or too much to absorb. And I'm sorry, because this is me. You know, I'll talk about anything about. So if does anybody have any questions, can we open this up for some questions? I could talk all night about this.
Yeah, we can definitely open it up for questions. And at the end,
Michelle, you still have any questions?
That was my biggest one. I would love to have you guest with us again, Teddy, and maybe focus on that concept that you were just talking about with obtaining the leads, because there's going to be good options that are solid quality leads like you were talking about. And then there's also going to be fly by night, sketchy things that are going to waste people's time. And we don't want people to go down that route that's going to feel like it's a waste. But there's also value in the practice with, getting that introduction and that spiel down pat as you're talking to people. But would love to have you expand on that a little bit more on another call so that we can help people with that, because I think it's a great idea and helps to overcome one of the biggest objections people have, which is, I don't know a lot of people, or I've already burned my friends and family with a previous business venture that they didn't like. So maybe next week or 2 weeks from now, we could have you do that, if that would work for you.
If it, you guys, as long as I get an invitation and it fits, and I'll come. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. If you guys want me to do one, I will. But there's a lot of what you just say is it's. I can't see where she went. Where'd you go?
Who are you looking for?
There you go. You. So there's a lot of things you have to think about too. Don't think these leads, you have to watch, and you have to have somebody to guide you on what you need to buy, right? And if somebody new comes in your business and you want to teach them how to use the phone, make a copy of 10 leads, send them 10 leads, you do 10 calls or 5 calls, let them try to do the same calls. And, I don't care if they mess up 100 leads. We'll circulate them, we'll work, and we'll bring them back to life, right? I don't care if they get on a call and we do 100 calls and everybody's a no. I don't care. Keep calling, because one day at the end of the day, you're going to find somebody like Michelle, Anthony, Teddy, or even little Mary, right? That's somebody. So you got to keep going. Don't get disappointed if you call 10 leads a day or 10 contacts or 10 prospects and you get no answer and the message. Don't get disappointed. Make a list like Ashley said, and you could follow out. I left the message, whatever. and continue calling until you get a live voice. But we could go over that another time, because there's a strategy. I'll tell you what, we do a conference call on that. I guarantee you everybody leave off the conference call is going to start making calls. It's just the way, you know, that's how I built my business, by the phone. That's the only way you're going to build. It's good, this multimedia crap that's out there and all this other stuff that people are doing, because we're bringing new blood into the system. People are young and they're into this, you know, the phones. Everybody 6 years old, they got a phone in their pocket and they're all over the place. And so the multimedia stuff is good, the internet, but and you might get 100, 2,000 people in a group. Ashley, you know that. And then you got to absorb the good blood and try to convert them to a call or a Zoom. But if you have leads in front of you, you already accomplished that step. And so now a lot of people are scared to use that phone. Oh my God, I got to call somebody. You know, what am I going to say? Well, don't worry, we're going to call them together. Now, what I do is I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, Anthony, can I?
Teddy, you can say anything you want, Teddy.
Okay, what I do is this. I hold the Zoom call and I bring as many people as I can on it. And then I take 25, 30 leads myself, or somebody in my group that that wants to do it. And we start calling live. And everybody in that Zoom's hearing what's going on, right? And they hear the objectives, they hear the no's, somebody may want information, get on your phone right away, send them a text saying, thank you. You know what? It was all that crap you got to do, right? Because you got to have people. Nobody's going to remember what you say right now. You call them up, they're going to hang up, they keep going with their life, right? So you got to find somebody, look for somebody like yourself. Look for somebody like yourself. Keep going. And so you'll find yourself, it's hard to find, right? Because you got a commitment. You're determined to build a business. So you're hitting that phone, you're calling people, you're doing your part. Find somebody who wants to do what you do. And when you accomplish that, so you got to go through people every day. It doesn't matter if you called 18 hours a day and nobody said nothing to you. Tomorrow's another day, wake up, it's a new age, start using the phone.
And the beautiful thing about that is that you've learned something with every phone call, even if it's a no, even if it's, an objection or whatever direction those phone calls go, you're learning something. And when you do it in a context like that, where you don't know that person, you have more confidence and you're a little more bold in a lot of cases to try new things, because you don't have something to lose with them. If they say no, you've lost nothing. You've not lost a relationship. You've not lost a friendship, and you move on to the next one, but you're growing and you're learning.
Just circulate it, put it in the bottom of the list and compare notes with them in 30 days. You never know, but don't focus on that. Just put them away. You call them later again.
I love that, Teddy, because I never thought about that. Hey, listen, I'm definitely, when I start following up now, I'm definitely going to, hey, you know what? I know you're not interested right now, but how about this? How about we compare notes of where we at in life in 30, 60, 90 days from now?
And then, you could do something more. You could send them a little text once in a while with a link. Put them in your little database, send them a little video. Hey, you know what? I was thinking about you today and I saw this. Take it. Use a subject line like this. If you're emailing somebody and you say, I try to call you, is this your correct? Right? So now they see the subject line, they're going to click on it and they're going to read it, because they think you called them and you didn't have the correct number. So everything is perception, right? If you send a link to them on their phone, you always be personal with people. Be yourself. Don't think about getting somebody. They're going to come. Just be yourself. I know you're going to get excited. You're going to want to deliver a message, and I do. You see me right now. I love I'll talk about anything you want to talk about, and I'll try to give you everything I can, and hoping that a little sponge of mine will absorb and you got something, right? I was trained by guys that threw people out of training classes at a convention. Hey, get up and leave. Larry Thompson, the guy you people don't, I'm just saying. But You have to be, listen, if you call a prospect and he tells you no 3 times, oh, call me tomorrow. Don't ever ask him, is this a good time? When you pick up that phone and I wish I could share some script. I don't know how much time we got.
Well, Teddy, let me reach that hour, but I know me and you talk on a daily. And I
If
know,
you could give me a few minutes more, I could share some more stuff. If that's okay with the people in this
let me
room.
say this. If you want to leave, you feel free to leave. But if you want to keep, this is what I do with Teddy all the time. Teddy, I would watch Teddy work the phones, and you want to know how my business did just change in the last 2 weeks, 3 last month or so, because I met Teddy when I was down there. I seen a workaholic. When he say he writes down everything, he writes down everything. So you could tell him your favorite color is blue and you like white shoelaces and you like this, and he gonna write it down. So when he follows up with you, he gonna know that information. But I learned so much from Teddy. I'll sit on these Zooms with Teddy for an hour or two. He'll watch me work. He watched me work with Miss Valeda several times. He's like, man, yeah.
And then, but in the meantime, he's doing his thing working. I got a Zoom open. I'm working on this end. And, I'll hear what Anthony says. And at the end of the conversation, or whatever he's doing, I promise you, I'm going to say, Anthony, you did great. But you could change a little bit of this. Maybe it'll help you. So you always compliment people on their stuff. Even if they mess up, you say, hey, you did great, but maybe we can change this and do it a little bit this way. I'm sorry, Anthony, I got excited on what you were saying. But another thing is,
I just want
to follow a certain script, right? Because you want to get on the phone and you want to say certain things. You don't want to say certain things because you never give them the right to get out. You always want to keep them there. So if you ask somebody, hey, is this a good time? You call me up and ask me, is this a good time to talk about the garden? I'm going to tell you, no, I'm busy, So if I say something and I'm not going to ask you if this is a good time, can I call you tomorrow? Can this and that? Just be yourself. Don't be hungry. Don't be thirsty. It'll come. I promise you it'll come. Don't worry about who tells you no. And listen, if I was able to talk the way I talk to my leaders on this call, probably half of you would leave, right? Because I get into it and I get into it where I talk to guys like me every day and there's cross line and I got them all in a room and the energy that comes out of there is crazy. And every one of them have an ego. They're all cross-lining each other. They got beef in the industry because this guy did. It's crazy. It's nuts. So that's what I go through every day, right? So I got to guide this big ship and I elected to be the captain of it and I got to do my part, right? I can't let them down because if I let them down, it's destroy. You can't. You got to focus on your people you bring in your business. Just because they bought product, don't forget about them. Because if I'd say, listen, you're coming in with the product, great. If you have any questions, here's the company support number. You can call customer service. They'll take care of you. Once in a while, you drip a little email on them, just to touch base. How's the product? But they're customers. They're great. They're already in. Don't try to convince them about the business. They just want to use the product. And if you call them up once, hey, how you doing? How's the product working for you? Spend a little 5 minutes, make a list of those people. Like Ashley said, always, hey, these are my product users. This is the follow-up. Now I got something that I'm going to share that I don't know if Anthony's going to get. I developed something really sexy and I'm ready to launch this thing. What I'm doing right now, I've been in process of building this system for the past 3-4 months. And I finally got it complete. And I'm ready to launch. But in my pre-launch of my organization, I'm structuring it. For those of you who understand, I'm structuring it. So when I open the gates, automatically this thing's going to start picking the momentum. Why can't you see what I did? I built a system. I'm using the products the company's providing. I'm using their comp plan. And I built a system within the system. And the company's paying the checks, they're delivering the product. I don't need anything else. I just need me and the tools that I have to build my business. Focus on what I just told you. Focus on that. Pick a stream of products that you want to promote and share with other people that you like. And took a little box or, the Slenderize, whatever works. Always go in with a low entry. Allow people to come in on a low entry. Don't try to push those big boxes because people don't have money today. Key to success in this business is to bring them in and keep them on auto ship, right? But if you call somebody up today and say, hey, you got $800 on your card, now they spend the 800, they got a garage full of products. 2 months later, they don't want to pick the phone and they're pouring their stuff down the drain. So you don't want that. You want to deliver them a small box where they start consuming that box and they stay on auto ship and they keep buying. And the way this company is structured, man, we're great. We got an array of products. After you bring them in on a certain pack, let them go in the back and design their own auto ship. You know, so let them see what we got. And that happens with the tools that are provided. So I have set up a system which is ready to launch in the next couple of days. I'm just waiting for corporate to integrate some stuff with me because it's totally automated. And I've been in the system. That's how I build my success, because I've created a system that creates duplication and everybody follows the strategy. And before you know it, you got everybody, 150, 5 people doing the same thing that you showed them, right? That why you came in this company, why you decided to see the products, but don't go into the products, don't become a doctor. You know, if you want to share a transformation, send them a video, go to one of these calls, you know, the Zooms, they got a lot of good stuff going on. I personally don't like to get into product. I just let the tools do the work for me, right? Because I'm not a doctor. If the vitamin works, it works, right? I'm not going to lie to you. It don't work, you throw it out, don't use it. You want to come in the business, this is a comp plan. Buy your product every month, pour it down the drain, and let's go make some money, right? It is what it is. But the products work.
Yes, they do.
That's what's crazy and amazing, that New Age has an array of products that work. Here, she said, how much pounds did you lose? 40?
Yeah, actually, Michelle has
And she's telling the truth because she's here on the call with us, and she can't lie, right? Look at the transformation. You know, Shay, she has pictures before and after, right? So I wish we could spend an hour more, and
I know I can sit on here with you all day, Teddy. I do every day anyway. I know we're gonna end up talking a little bit later too, but I don't want to, have everybody just sit here, So what we're gonna do is, Michelle already messaged me. She said she would like you back next week. So next week we're gonna come back with another list of questions. Teddy, will next week at 2 p.m. work the same time for you in North Carolina?
I just put it in. I'm launching now, but I'll make sure I'm there.
Okay,
thank you. I promise I'll be there.
Teddy, that was absolutely amazing. I told y'all we had this day right here is special to me. I got to have Ashley.
I hope I didn't drive you guys crazy, because I'm a little crazy myself.
Teddy, your knowledge is absolutely amazing. Michelle, Ashley said she kicked it off, and she messaged me. She said, "Can I finish it off with an assignment?" So
let me write it down.
So her assignment is right here. She's back. She's going. Did you have anything else you want to say, Michelle, before we close it down?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you to both of you, Ashley and Teddy. We appreciate you very much. And Ashley, we'll let you finish us out.
Awesome. Teddy, thank you so much. Like, mic drop. I don't really even know how we're going to follow that up. I also want to be just tuning in next Friday just to hear from you more. Write it down. My favorite color is orange. So make sure and write that down, Teddy, if you want mine. Something that I absolutely loved about what he said is you have to put in the work, right? You have to have a system. And so he talked about the mop and putting the mop together, right? You put the screws in and the mop works. But are you putting the screws in, right? So today I want you to follow up with 3 people. Everyone that has their pictures on here, hold up 3 fingers right now. 3, I see all of you. Follow up with 3 people today. Put those screws in the mop. The mop is not going to work and put itself together if you are not taking the action to put it together. 3 people, right? Val, follow up with that person that you had talked about that plugged in, right? Get out of our own way sometime. We have to put in the action to get the results. So that is my assignment today. 3 people. It literally could take 10 minutes of your day, but you have to be intentional with the time. I see you, Daryl. So reach out and follow up with 3 people. If you don't have 3 people to follow up with, make 3 new contacts, right? 3 new conversations. So do something today, but end the week strong and follow up or start those 3 conversations. So that's it. See you guys next week.
See you next week. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much, Teddy and
Thank
Michelle.
you for having me. It was an honor being here. You guys have a great week and a great Mother's Day. Ciao.
Hey, happy Mother's Day to all y'all wonderful mothers out
Happy
there.
Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Guys.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.